What are some examples of Bloom's taxonomy in lesson plans? Have you ever wondered how to make your lesson plans more effective? Bloom's taxonomy is a fantastic tool for structuring your teaching. It helps you create learning objectives that guide students through different levels of understanding. Let's break down some examples of how you can use this framework in your lesson plans. First, we have the remembering level. This is where students recall information they have learned before. For instance, you might set a goal like, by the end of this lesson, students will be able to list the main characters in a novel. Another example could be, students will recall the formula for calculating area. These objectives focus on basic recall, which is essential for building a foundation. Next, we move to the understanding level. Here, students show that they can interpret the material. You could say, by the end of this lesson, students will be able to explain the concept of photosynthesis. Another objective might be, students will describe the main theme of a historical event. This level encourages students to grasp the meaning behind the information. Then we have the applying level. In this stage, students take what they have learned and use it in real-world situations. For example, you might have an objective like, by the end of this lesson, students will be able to use a mathematical formula to solve a practical problem. Another could be, students will apply a scientific principle to a new scenario. This helps students see the relevance of their learning. The analyzing level comes next. At this point, students break down complex information to understand relationships. You might set a goal such as, by the end of this lesson, students will be able to differentiate between two historical theories. Another example could be, students will analyze a piece of literature to identify themes and motifs. This encourages critical thinking. After analyzing, we reach the evaluating level. Here, students make judgments about the value or quality of material. You could say, by the end of this lesson, students will be able to evaluate the effectiveness of a marketing strategy. Another objective might be, students will assess the credibility of a source. This level promotes higher-order thinking. Finally, we arrive at the creating level. At this highest level, students generate new ideas or products. You might have an objective like, by the end of this lesson, students will be able to design a new product based on learned principles. Another example could be, students will write an original short story using literary techniques learned in class. This encourages creativity and innovation. Incorporating Bloom's taxonomy into your lesson plans allows you to structure learning activities that progressively challenge students. This approach not only supports student teaching experiences, but also aligns with educational goals. By using these examples, you can create a more engaging and effective learning environment for your students.